The next wave for church website design is transitioning your site away from a platform dedicated to presentation to instead invitation. Because the problem that I see with so many church websites is what I call slideshow syndrome. The site itself is an extended presentation about the church. This is who we are, this is what we're about, this is what we do. And no doubt about it, that info is helpful and should be on your site. But a static, passive presentation style website that strictly allows folks to observe what life at your church might be like, well, that's incongruent with what I know about the nature of your church, which is a living, breathing organism made up of real people walking with Jesus and one another, and your website should reflect that. Now, I'll admit what I'm proposing is a larger, more philosophical change to how our churches approach the digital world. That change won't happen overnight, but there is one thing you can do today. It's free. It takes just minutes to implement, it requires zero coding skills, and it's absolutely a step in the right direction, away from presentation towards invitation. This is something every church can do, but you won't find it on too many church websites. Let me show you. So these are banners. They overlay on top of your church's website, and they exist to share time-sensitive information and invite people to take time-sensitive next steps. And because of their placement and the prime real estate that they occupy, banners should be reserved for the highest priority info and the most crucial next steps in your church. There are two distinct types of banners. I'll share those with you in just a moment. But first, earlier this year, my company, Nucleus, released a free plugin for every church website called The Launcher. We dedicated an entire video to our launch day. So if you weren't around for that, you can catch up. It's linked on this video and below. But the purpose of The Launcher is to be the home for every next step in your church. Once installed, it lives on every page of your website in the form of a widget in the corner of the screen, making next steps accessible across your entire web platform. And the reason we made this product free with no strings attached is because it's one thing for me to publish YouTube videos like this one teaching you how to navigate the world of digital, but these videos become that much more powerful and useful when not only is the training free, but the tools to execute the strategies that I teach are also free. And that's what The Launcher is all about. Now, The Launcher was released to the public about 6 months ago, and we've made some massive improvements to it in that time. Most notably, we've added banners. And banners work on any website where The Launcher is installed. So let's talk now about how to properly use banners, because they are tremendously potent when used as intended, but it's very easy to abuse them as well. And when that happens, they can become very annoying, and that's the last thing that we want. So we're gonna make sure that we avoid that. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that The Launcher powers two types of banners. First, we have inline announcement style banners. And when published, an announcement banner will look like a ribbon-shaped bar neatly placed on top of everything else on your website. And when you scroll down, you'll scroll away from the banner. The second type is a floating notification style banner. And as you can likely guess from the name, a floating notification banner floats on top of your website's content, and when you scroll, the banner scrolls with you. You can create unlimited banners of both types with The Launcher. You can have more than one of each type live at any time. They're made to stack elegantly. Banners can be set to draft mode, published immediately, scheduled, and you can even schedule banners on a recurring basis. So, if you have a time-sensitive next step that repeats, you can schedule a banner to go live at a certain time and day, expire at a certain time and day, and then repeat as needed, all on autopilot. On the design side of things, both kinds of banners can have an emoji, custom color, headline, body, and an action button. Most of these properties are optional. The only field required is the headline. Creating banners couldn't be easier. In your Nucleus dashboard, click on Next Steps, then find the Banners tab, click on Add New, and then fill in your banner's info as needed. Just follow those prompts. And we're going to talk about best practices for when and how to use banners briefly here, but first, let me outline the rules for how banners display. This is important. And the first thing you need to know is that by default, a floating banner will wait for about 4 seconds before appearing on your website, whereas an inline banner, that's going to appear immediately. If you click the X button on the banner to dismiss it, we'll wait about 5 days before we show you that banner again. If you click the Call to Action button on a banner, if it has one, we'll wait about 3 days before we show you that banner again. And again, these rules, they're very important because we're trying to protect people on your website from being bombarded and overloaded with pop-up style messages. We all hate it when you go to a website and then there's numerous pop-ups taking over your screen and you can't X out of them to see what you actually came for. Marketers have certainly gone too far with pop-ups. And that's really what I love about banners. They never become intrusive. They're never going to block what you're trying to see on a website. They stay dismissed for extended periods of time when you ask them to, and yet they are still tremendously effective at gaining attention and from there, driving next steps. So let's talk about that now. How would I use banners on your church's website? Well, for me, the rule of thumb for qualifying a banner is this announcement or is this next step time sensitive? Let's talk about some practical examples of this. Weather updates. Maybe there was a big winter storm and church was canceled. Or maybe there was a big winter storm and church was not canceled. I'd create an inline banner and publish that as soon as your church has made its decision, and then set that banner to automatically expire as soon as service is done. That way you don't have someone visiting your website on a Tuesday and seeing a banner saying church service is on and have them wondering if that banner is for the upcoming weekend or last weekend. One way to rob banners of their potency is if the information or next step they're displaying is no longer relevant. And that's why we coded in expiration scheduling to make sure that never happens to you. Another situation where I'd use a banner, sign-up deadlines for important next steps in your church. Now, I would not always reach for a banner for every sign-up deadline, that'd be overdoing it, but for the most important deadlines, absolutely. Okay, like imagine it's a Sunday morning and in service, you're making a big push for summer camp, and the deadline is this upcoming week. And you say to your congregation, hey, church, the deadline to sign your kids up for camp is this Wednesday at noon. Go to our website to sign up. And then, when parents do go to your website, they're kindly greeted with a notification banner for camp with a button to sign up right there. So in service, you talked about how important the deadline was for camp, and then when a parent visited your site, your website's messaging was the same as your Sunday service messaging in relation to the urgency of the sign-up deadline. That's congruency between in-person and online. And that's what it looks like to remove barriers and hurdles to signups. You're clearing the runway for folks and making it easy for them to get involved. We can't force people to get involved in our churches, but we can motivate them, and we can make the next step process smooth and intuitive for them. And banners are just another tool in your communication toolbox for that purpose. Most churches aren't taking advantage of this, but you can. Again, these are free. They will work on any church website. You need zero coding skills to pull this off. And the place to get started is nucleus.church/free. It's also linked in the description for you. If you have any questions regarding banners or the launcher plugin itself, let me know in the comments or reach out to support directly at hello@nucleus.church. We're all real people here to help you. And thanks again, as always, for your time, attention, and trust. We'll talk soon. Now, I'll admit, oh no, I'll slap the mic. Not in the intro. You gotta save that for the end of the video, then make a funny remark about it.